Hello, welcome, and thank you for coming. I have a pretty special video, at least for today. Kreirian and I have been the mayors of Mayoral. I got re-elected. Well, I guess re-elected for chaos, but elected for the first time since live. I guess re-elected if you count me being a node mayor in NDA. But here we are. How are you doing today, Kreirian? Are you doing good?
I'm doing good. Been a lazy day.
Lazy day indeed. So I have the node screen up here in the right now. So there's a lot of things that happen with nodes and a lot of things that you do to advance the world. So as I'm like clicking through these, you can kind of like see different like node relationships. You can have like declare war on others. If I wanted to, for instance, declare, well, I don't know. I haven't clicked this button yet. Have you?
If you click on it, it opens a different menu.
Okay, good. Hey, I can select it. We could go to war with Genesis right now. Or, I mean, Winstead. But no, so what I had selected the war preparation commission, and we'll get to commissions here in a little bit, but basically you as a mayor can get your citizens to help you and advance the city and to try to force the realm in a direction, or at least if your citizens will allow that. So what I mean by that is you have your choice of buildings that you can pick. We've got most of our plots here. At a level 3 node, there is only 4 slots available, correct?
Yes. So level 3 node, you get 4 slots, and every level you go up above that, you get an extra one.
Okay. And I know we've kind of raised hell about how the plots and these buildings are made with Planendorf and Steven. So some of these are, some of these issues are already, they are already aware of. Geez, words are hard.
And have been changing.
Yes. So not only has Lyneth been really good realm for nodes and mayorship and working together on building, Vyra has also been doing this as well. You've seen probably my other video where one, I really fucked up as mayor. That was the NDA test where I was a mayor. And then 2 was the Vyra mayoral meeting. So I had Kreirian, Rive, Atheto, and Tim, Neorine, and Sheeta were all on my stream, and we just had like questions about the mayorship and stuff. Now that I actually am a mayor, I can show you what goes into it. So I'm pretty excited to kind of like show people what it takes, and is it going to consume your life or not? And yes and no. Like, yes, because it's a people job, right? So like you're always managing people, their emotions and stuff like that. But once you generally think about the system and prepare for the system, you kind of just click a button and you move on. So as long as you're aware of what it takes to be a mayor, it'll be really click and go for the most part. So if you don't know, you get elected by, you have to be level 10 first to be a citizen of the city. This is to stop people from like running alts into the city and to eventually just, rig an election. So you have to be level 10, which is moderately difficult. It's still pretty easy. You could do it in a day if you really want to, but doing it for like 50 characters is probably not very possible. So that's a pretty good stopgap in itself, I think. I think that's a pretty good change that Intrepid did. So you have to be level 10. You have to pay your taxes, I believe, in order to vote, but I'm not sure. I haven't done anything with taxes. I know some people just haven't been paying them and they've been fine. I don't know what I think one person maybe has been kicked out from the city because they didn't pay taxes, so that's kind of funny. Oh, this is new. Mayor message? Did you ever have this?
No, I was gonna make a comment on it, but we were doing a video.
Oh shit!
It's brand new, yes. So that was one of the during the mayoral meeting video. We talked about wanting to have a mayoral message board, and there we go.
That's it. I literally just noticed it. Like, I had no clue.
I'm sitting here staring at it. I was like, I didn't have this. It's some bullshit.
Hey, hold on. What up, YouTube? Like, comment, and subscribe.
That's cool.
Yeah, basically, you can do this and you can set it up. I haven't tried this yet, so we're gonna actually do a real message out to the citizens. Greetings, Mayorethians. Please donate to our war efforts so we can.
It's already completed.
It's already completed?
Yes. On the right side.
Oh, I can just click OK.
It doesn't do anything, but yeah,
It doesn't do anything. Okay, cool. So it's done. Please, well, I guess next we could probably have them finish
focus
our
on books.
books and alchemic extracts. So we need ash planks, cotton bolts, linen bolts, and cut emeralds. So we are going to just go ahead and say, please donate to our building efforts. Okay, save. Done. Does it pop up
So it doesn't
anywhere?
put it on. So it doesn't put it on blast. That's cool. So
Okay.
if citizens log in and they click on the node panel, it'll probably pop up.
Okay. Oh yeah. That it'll probably just show right there. Sick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then here all citizens basically have access to this. So you have your buy order fulfilled. Buy order fulfilled 5 days ago. Lloyd was elected mayor, aka me. And so like you can go and like check all the tax updates and stuff like that. Like I can go to my advanced details, and you have your tax rates. There are a lot of tax rates, but generally
Citizens
the standard.
can't see that.
Yeah, citizens cannot see this. Correct. So you have a bunch of tax rates that you can set the tax for. Kreirian and I have our secret little war tax plans that we do whenever we have wars happening inside of our city, which has happened multiple times. It's been a really fun blast. And Kreirian, do you want to go through like maybe what you would change taxes for outside of just needing money?
I mean, the entire point of taxes are so you can get money.
Mm-hmm.
We can go into the tax system in general. So the global tax rate, the standard one there, adjusts all the sliders. So you don't have no customization there. If you put it to 100, everything goes to 100. Each of the tax overrides change the different things. So for the artisan buildings, you have those tax rates. So we have the smithy, for example, and the laboratory. You can choose to do either the sales tax specifically, which will go and adjust the vendors at those buildings, specifically their taxes on the goods that they sell, and
you know what I could do?
Buy them.
You know what I could do? Because I'm a scribe, I could just be like, yo, don't buy their enchanted scrolls, buy my enchanted scrolls as a mayor.
And that is why you don't hire corrupt mayors.
I could do this. I'm not gonna. But that's fucking funny.
Yeah, so sales tax rate is for the vendor. Service tax rate is for the stations themselves. And the cost it takes to be able to build something at that station.
If you do this, you're a douchebag. I'm going to be honest. So if you change the service tax on crafters, you're probably going to have your crafters leave your node, just as a heads up. But maybe you want to do, as I said, and increase this to the default, which is 50%, by the way. The default is 50%. And then you could have your crafting station at lower. So there are ways for you to tweak this. You tried to min-max things, right? So maximize happiness, minimize pain is the general philosophy when it comes to mayorship. However, there are some necessary things that you need to do when it comes into the taxes and tax ratings. Just to finish up on the tax portion, you can do this for anything. For the smithy, for the wood shop that we have, for the goods in the marketplace that you could tax, and just general like caravansary tax rate. So like this being at 30% right now is pretty nice because you could get more money for the node for the more people that run caravans in, correct?
No, caravanserai tax rate is for people that buy or sell commodities at that node. So it'll
Right.
cost more glint for people to buy. It will also give us more money from their cut.
From the
selling.
commodities that they buy, correct?
From the buy and sell, yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. So I'm also learning this because Kreirian has had way more time on this. So there are certain like little niche things that I'm not quite aware of, which is why I also brought him on here so he can teach. So yeah, that's pretty good. For me, we're gonna leave everything at 10% because we have a pretty good amount of money. Most of this money I think we started at 480 today, but we had costs go out for maintenance on buildings. We also had commissions that I bought. The war preparations one was 50 gold. So the 50 gold in itself just for the war preparation scroll is pretty big. So that was a big boon for us. Now, if we want to go into buy orders, there are 3 sections of these node resources, which you will use for your maintenance. You will use this for your construction and maintenance of the node, basically. So here it says we have 2,642 standard tools. This is just a component like rubies or granite or anything like that. And they are used for the node specifically. And you, as the mayor, cannot take out this gold nor these resources. So Intrepid have done a pretty good job at like not making mayors use this for personal gain. So there is really no motive for the mayor to try to swindle its citizens. And if they do, it's just so that they can like destroy the node so that they can rebuild a new one or expand out a different one through espionage. Like that's the only real reason I can really see mayors really abusing the system, because if you adjust the tax rates like super high, citizens are just going to leave. Like they can just dip out of Miralith at any point in time, and they can go to Winstead, they can go to Jova, they can go to any node that they want. So it's generally, and then you're not going to have any gold anyways, right? So if you jack up the prices and people go away from you, then you're not going to get much gold. Also, people won't frequent your node as much from other nodes to supply that either. But maybe you find some lucrative ways to make the node a little bit more money so that you can build more in the future, which we have done. So, Kreirian, I know you have done some tax raises. I just wanted to ask, what scenarios did you raise those taxes, and what was the general feel of like the people when you did it?
So the first weekend was kind of like the biggest feedback from the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
That was due to taxes being at, I think I had them at 25% at that time. That's also because we were so focused on building buildings.
Correct.
So it was a lot of negative feedback because Winstead at the beginning they dropped theirs to 10%. Rive soon recently after raised it up to like 40% because he realized that he messed up. But generally, I've always kept the tax rate at 10% because 10% has always been enough income to be able to maintain your buildings after you built them. The only time I ever raised them was when we tried to plan on actually building a building. So right. I would put in my work orders and everything, and as the work orders were nearing completion, that's when I would raise the tax and inform the citizens.
Gotcha. Yeah, so for me, you had already basically brought us up pretty high. So like just to show everybody, the maintenance cost here is about 12 gold per week on the smithy. Your default buildings don't cost a maintenance fee, so I didn't really have to worry about that. This School of Construction is a +6, warehouse is a default, laboratory is plus 12. And if I were to go and say upgrade the building, it increases the gold per week to plus 24 for a journeyman building. I'm going to assume that this is just an additive bonus for each and every level that you go up. So the adept, or I don't know what comes after journeyman, would probably be 36, and master would be 48, and grandmaster would be 60, would be my assumption. And then for the cost for the buildings, the most, I've seen that they all are pretty much 300 gold. Is that correct, or do they change?
Okay. What you're looking at there is to upgrade the buildings. Okay,
right.
So the cost to build the buildings and the cost to upgrade them are two separate things. So the textile is a base 100. Yes.
There it is.
So all of the main crafting buildings, and like the buildings for processing, the buildings for gathering tools and everything, all of those cost 100. Okay. All of the other buildings, so like the fabrication, civic, scholarly, cultural, vocational, are all 50 gold.
Perfect. So, wow. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into buy orders here in just a second, just because I think this is really, really important to actually cover first. Is when you're looking at like fabrication, civic, scholarly, cultural, all these have their own little buffs. You have your node resource generation, you have zone of influence, which gives all your citizens little bonuses on the bar. As you can see, here's my School of Construction Crafting XP is buffed by 150%. This could have been because we've completed this commission. It could have been just static
School of Construction
bonuses here. So we have construction speed and a gift of craft, which provides player with increased crafting XP. Crafting XP rating increased. So it is from the School of Construction. So as a citizen, you are able to go into this building and look at all this stuff. You're able to look at what services are provided. You get to look at what buffs your mayor is trying to go into. You can see exactly how much bricks, standard tools, and scrolls and stuff that they need. The information you probably don't have would be like what makes bricks, so I will probably post something that has all of the ingredients on all of these, maybe in the video, maybe I'll post it down below. I'll have to think about it later. I didn't even think about it until now.
It'll take you days.
It'll take me a little bit. I was doing it a little bit before for the NDA, so I have some of it already done, to be honest.
They changed it.
They've changed a lot. Another thing that they've changed was that these buy orders used to be like 3 and 5 and stuff. So now they've made it a little bit more simple, where it's for tier 1, which is just gray commodities, or buy orders and goods. They are actually, what are these? Are these goods? Are these all just node resources, node commodities? Like what do we call these?
Node resources.
Node resources right here. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so tier. Go ahead.
I've found that the 3 like industrial goods, luxuries, and more materials really doesn't mean anything. They have them categorized just for simplicity, I guess. But
what I've noticed is that the tier 1 resources take tier 1 materials, right? So like copper and basalt, and then tier 2 takes 2 of tier 2 resources. So that's how I've been kind of thinking about it. So anything like in this row,
I'm talking about the categories.
Oh yeah, the categories.
Good category.
I haven't noticed either. Yeah, I think they just there for show, because we'll get into it. But those buy orders will eventually construct these buildings. They will eventually give you these services and these buffs to all the citizens within your node of influence. So Mayoral is this little blue area right here. It kind of like tracks all around here, and then Winstead is the little yellow. So as there's our little zone of conflict, I guess you could say. And this is all of our zone of influence, which you will get all of those buffs. Winstead will get all of their buffs within there, even when you are not a citizen. Whenever you enter their zone of influence, you will also receive those buffs from other people's work. So that's pretty nice. It is also just in general a way of saying, hey, we're doing our job as mayors. We are giving you all these buffs, and come go through our area, start crafting, start helping us with our commissions and stuff like that. So it's really good for you as a citizen to go out and do these buy orders and also the commission, so that you are getting these buffs in the zone of influence. And Ashes of Creation is actually a really regional game. So since I've been in Miralith, I barely leave this zone while leveling. Not just because I'm trying to level up my node, but because the world is fucking massive. So going from Miralith all the way over to Jova to grind or like get levels and stuff like that, it's very, very difficult. Outside of like gathering resources, I haven't really needed to leave Miralith. So I think that'll be really interesting when the world gets way bigger. What do you think, Kreirian? Do you think that Ashes is going to be like you stick close to your home, or are you going to be traveling the world a lot?
Nodes are going to be the world will be very centralized around the major nodes.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to also keep in mind that as nodes level, their area levels with them. So there might not be a level 10 area in a metro node. You might have to go outside.
Well, also you would think like as the nodes level, the zone of influence also expands, which allows like more area to be covered. There's also the talk about like vassal systems and how vassal systems are going to be introduced even to phase 2. So that's going to be really interesting, because say Lionholt here is like a castle, and it's not the starting zone. It's a guild castle that you fight over. So you could have a level 6 metropolis in Winstead, and you could have a level 6 metropolis in Halcyon, and this castle is affecting both of these nodes, and that you will be able to take taxes with that castle from both metropolises, which was absolutely massive, and all their vassals. So there could be a way where this is all one vassal network, the Jova, Halcyon, Winstead, Miralith, and New Ayla down here, and you only have one castle. Or you have Winstead and Miralith and the Lawless Desert as one node with their own vassal network, and then Halcyon, Jova, New Ayla, and the Tropics as another vassal network that are competing to fight over this castle. So I think the way that you decide which node you stay in, which node you decide to progress, and eventually, if you want to, run for mayor. So I think there's a lot of interesting dynamics on the macro side that you can do when you like really zoom out of the game, but sometimes it's really hard to do that. So we're going to zoom back in a little bit because the mayor system is still pretty massive. And we were only able to get a couple buildings to journeyman. And I think that's by design. And the issue that we had was that there's not enough plots. And in order to build a building for journeyman, you had to, or to get like multiple crafts to journeyman, you had to build these like smaller buildings, like the School of Construction, or let me see, where's it at?
Do you want me to explain it?
Or like the farm or the memorial site. Yeah. So I would like you to explain it a little bit further, because I did have problems grasping this until Kreirian explained it to me. He did a really good job. So I'm just going to let him talk.
Yeah. So all of the crafting buildings that at their base tier provide access to apprentice. Okay. So Winstead here, for example, the 2 crafting buildings we created was the smithy and the laboratory. So if you click on the smithy, for example, if you go into manage building, if you click on one of those 3 different upgrades, those change which station you're trying to upgrade. So for example, he clicked on armor smithing here. So on the left are the resources required to upgrade to journeyman armor smithing. If you look at the different resource costs, you have those 4 node resources, and that last one is the fabrication resource. Okay. To get the fabrication resource, you have to build what I call a sub building or a vocational building. So those are going to be the factory, which is under the fabrication slot, or like the trade bureau, which is civic, scholarly, is school of construction. So each of those sections will give you different types of expansion points. So the factory list in there has the factory buffs and stuff, but the big point of it is the fabrication expansion points. So the factory, if you build it, will give you that +1 expansion point, which you need to upgrade the smithy armor station to journeyman. To upgrade another station, you would have to build a second smithy and a second factory. So to have 2 stations in a smithy, you would have to have 2 separate smithies, 2 separate factories, and upgrade both of them to journeyman.
That's why when we look at like New Ayla, when they are building the cookhouse and what else do they build? The
agriculture, I think.
Agriculture. I think Jova was the agricultural supply.
I know. One of them had cookhouse, one had hideworks, one
Maybe
had
it was.
textile.
I think it's the cookhouse and the hideworks. And they have 2 farms, and the reason why they have 2 farms is because they require this vocational spot. So the vocational building would end up being the farm. So that is why they have 2 farms, because they had 2 buildings that needed that vocational requirement, and to upgrade them into journeyman, they needed to do that as well. Because we built the laboratory and the smithy, our empty plot would probably have to be a fabrication spot. So we'd probably have to build a factory in order to upgrade our smithy. So that is probably something that we would have to do if we had enough time. I don't think we have enough time, nor the amount of people that actually care right now to actually start building and working into these buy orders. But as I said, there's a reason why you have like the mayoral, I guess it just disappeared. There's a reason why you have like the mayoral message going out so that people can stay focused. You also don't want to overwork your citizens or overstimulate them, I guess you could say, because each one of these buy orders, because we can probably go into this now. Each one of these buy orders for each one of these node resources costs you gold. So if you overstimulate or try to overproduce for your, like, to make your citizens produce these resources and you don't complete them, it's very possible that you just don't end up completing what you need for your node. So when we go back to the buildings, this is why planning is really, really important for the mayor, because you need to know exactly how many materials do I need next week in order to, survive. So like I have 1573 bricks, but like there's a lot of buildings that need bricks, right? So I just need to make sure that all of those buildings just continue to have bricks so that they are going to be maintained. Otherwise, there will be a decay. And so far, we haven't decayed anything yet. There has been real no need to. But like, I can look at like this alchemic concoction, which is at 89 out of 38. Wow, I don't even know where my brain is going right now. But 89 alchemic concoctions out of 38, which means we're good for about like 2 more weeks. However, if there's other buildings that are using alchemic concoctions, we would want to, go back, find out where the alchemic concoction is. Can't be too far. Here it is. And we would just need them to create like either a filter or a tincture. And honestly, you're going to pick whatever one is easier to get. So you have Snowdrop, Daffodil, and Flax, and Rubies. Or you can have your filter, which has linen thread, or cotton, and some cut rubies. So these are both going to be processed things, and this one has things that are unprocessed. Both of these actually. So I could jack
before
up.
You keep, yeah,
Okay,
before
go
you
ahead.
keep going too far ahead. For buildings, if you do not provide the resources to maintain them, they go into disarray. When they are in disarray, they cannot be used as crafting stations, or the vendors can't be used to buy things from until the mayor repairs them, which requires these buy orders as well.
And I'm going to be real with you. I'm not repairing them. I'm going to have you repair them as my citizen. So if you want the crafting building to work, you have to do the buy orders. So unless your mayor is like AFK, he's not looked at his buy orders and is on vacation or something, that's the only way that the mayor could really fail as a singular person, is making sure that these buy orders are not being put up and that these maintenance costs are not being provided for. So it is very good.
Issue.
Go ahead.
It may not be an issue in the future because Intrepid's making their app, and you're supposed to be able to do this stuff from the app,
which would be really cool. But yeah, the job of mayor mostly falls down to your citizens need to provide the node enough for it to succeed, and you have to set up your node to succeed. And it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of prep, takes a lot of planning. Like I said, all of these things have different recipes, they have different ways that you can like make these resources, and some of these are not very easily attainable, like bronze ingots, copper ingots. You have to get like cut halcyonites for apprentice stonemasonry. So maybe your citizens have to be a little bit focused in those gathering and processing and crafting materials so that you can, maybe not so much crafting, but the gathering and processing for the most part of like what buildings you have in your zone of influence and what node you are required. Also, if you just straight up don't have those resources and you are like in that area of your node, say I'm in Miralith and there's no copper here, and I'm deciding to build a stonemasonry and a smithy, like probably not good buildings to build here, right? So you have to think about which buildings you're building and the area around as well, so that your citizens aren't going across the world for these resources, so that you can just keep maintaining your node and their buildings. So foresight, land knowledge, all this stuff is very, very important. It could just be like, meh, who cares? I want this building, I'm going to place it. That's fine. It's probably just not most optimal, but it's still viable. So that's how I would look at that. And so this is a tier 3 ingredient. I'm going to move back down to a tier 1, keep it really simple. So we'll just go back to like this alchemic concoction. Before, when I did it, yeah, so like you have alchemic concoction, which takes rubies, and enchanted gemstones that take rubies, right? So if I start a buy order with alchemic concoctions, Kreirian, please correct me if I'm wrong, if this has changed, because might be different from when I did it. If I did a buy order with alchemic concoction and I needed this ruby, and then I tried to do it with this one, I wouldn't be able to create this enchanted gemstone because it is using this ingredient. So I would have to change the enchanted dust into a cut ruby and basalt fragments, or granite fragments, so that I could actually get this node resource. So you can't double up on materials when you have buy orders in the process. So if I were to look here, I'm sure this book recipe is probably the easiest recipe to get with materials. And we're the reason why we can't do cotton bolts for both books and alchemic extracts is because we have them both up at the same time. Therefore, we needed 2 different versions of the bolts.
Yes, that is exactly right. So for work orders, the resources themselves have a cooldown, not the work orders.
Oh, okay. The resources.
Yes, you can post multiple work. If you have the resources available, you can post 2, 3 alchemical extracts up.
Okay.
So like if you were to go look at alchemical extract, you could post one for ruby. You could post one, or no, sorry, emerald. You could post one for halcyon,ite. And then you could also post, and then you have to use the 2 other resources. But as long as you have available resources, you can post them over and over and over again.
Silk boat. All the bolts, and you have cut emerald and cut halcyon,ite, and then you also have your uncut emerald and halcyon,ite, but you also need moonbell or giant bluebell. So, there you go. The next thing, and probably one of the most important thing, is how much are you paying your citizens for these resources, right? So what do the citizens get out of this? Well, they get the purchase price, right? And as you do that, you notice that the gold shoots up, right? But it's kind of like a necessary evil right now for mayors to do this. Without giving them enough currency and stuff, then they're just not going to go and give resources. This currency can go then to our little node vendor here. And you can buy with your node currency certain items that are pretty well done. A lot of people like these cloaks. They give max mana, magical power rating, so can be very, very good. I'm a bad mayor. I do not have that many node currencies on me. You can also get apprentice enchanting scroll recipes. You can get journeyman enchanting scroll recipes, which is something that I need to invest in. So I will eventually need to start doing these commissions and getting my node currency up. So that is pretty good in itself. Obviously, you just go to this town hall administrator to become a citizen. If you haven't done that already, do that. You can also purchase your tax receipts, which only cost glint, which is actually relatively cheap and easy to get. And so if I wanted, let's say, well, I guess I don't have any glint on me. That's why it's not going to adjust the slider. But I think I bought 40 tax receipts for maybe
it's
a glowing glint or something like that. So yeah. It's not a lot. But yeah, these buy orders are what's going to keep your buildings maintained, and this is probably where majority of your thinking is going to be when you're planning for these things, especially when it comes to as we said earlier, planning around which resources you need and the cooldowns and stuff that they have. So you can look exactly at everything that you need. You can look at the recipes. You want to pay your citizens so that they go out and actually get those materials so that they can buy those items. And then you can choose the duration. And duration over 8 days lowers it. So having longer duration is good, but I don't really see a downside to this. Have you seen one?
So, I mean, we've been doing weekend testing, so I've had to do duration for 8 days because otherwise it'll expire throughout the week.
Correct.
What I've been doing is putting the duration to max to make it cheaper, and then adjusting the quantity and using that as the limiting factor.
Yep. So there are reasons why you don't want to go max quantity, right? So one is the gold cost. The next one is because you may only need 30 standard weapons, and the faster you can turn out that buy order, then the better you can to create another one that may service your node better, right? So you don't want to just have these things. You
can have unlimited buy orders. And remember, the resources themselves have a cooldown, not the buy orders.
Right.
So even if you complete a buy order, the resource is still on a cooldown.
Yeah. So I just don't really see a real reason on jacking like these quantities up unless you just have like a shit ton of them, right? So like, I would just stick with what you need, keep it nice and simple.
I said the only two I've ever jacked them up on was tools, bricks, and preserved foods.
Yep.
Because those are general resources that every building uses.
Correct. So they're generally easily obtainable resources, and they're resources that are used for multiple buildings and maintenance costs. So that's like the only real reason that you would really jack up quantity. Outside of that, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it that much. Well, I would touch it for as much as you need. That sounded dirty. I don't know why. And then contribution limit is basically how much can one person contribute to this buy order, and it doesn't change anything. So I always jack it up to the max because, why limit people contributing to the node? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't even know why this is an option outside of there being a max.
Because node cash can be used to buy freeholds and upgrades for freeholds. And also there was speculation that the economic node, instead of pouring gold into it, you have to pour node cash into it to become mayor.
And
if you're fighting somebody to become mayor and they have more node cash than you because you gave them more contribution limit.
If that's the case, then yeah, there's that.
That's all speculation, but
also everyone has the same contribution limit to that buy order, unless you are the mayor and you're picking and choosing which ones have the contribution limit and which ones don't, and maybe you have more of that resource than other people do, so therefore you're going to jack that one up and just assume that you're gonna get that. Because I don't know if the citizens can see the contribution limit, can they?
Not until they exceed it.
Not until they exceed it. Wow. Okay, so that is a very valuable or viable strategy for economic node mayors. So that's good to know. Good to keep in mind. Thanks, Kreirian, for that extra knowledge. Is there anything else that you've learned throughout? Because we've basically covered how to be a mayor. Like, once you figured all that out, you can go to these commissions, say like, I want to destroy animated armor, gives your citizens node currency. It gives them 3,473 XP. It only costs 5 gold, so pretty cheap to the node. And you just have to kill 100 animated armors. So it's relatively easy to complete these things and do these things as they like just walk around the world. They don't even have to pay that much attention to these commissions. A lot of these are hunt the Grems. Some of these are like cut tier 1 resources. There's some that are just like scouting Muralith, like just go to a location and find it, and then you get node currency. So there's ways for your node to either mass do this or one person do this over and over and over again. I don't know if that's intended or not, but I remember when we really wanted some defense against the necrotic type for Carfin, we just ran our 8-man to scout Muralith like maybe 10 times or something like that, so that we could complete the commission and then went in with extra like necrotic resistances. So
that was studying on death.
Studying on death. This one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kill undead and Carfin. Yeah. So what we did is we did scouting Muralith, and then we had the necrotic resistance, and then we did studying on death. So like we went in there and we cut 2 commissions out at the same time this way.
So if you click on the commission on the right side above the glint reward and everything, you can actually see what the buffs are.
Yeah. So like right here.
Which they nerfed
Considerably. But yeah, so it was very, very valuable early. They are starting to work on balance. There are a lot of changes when it comes to rewards. A lot of people don't even read the rewards. They're just like, well, extra glint, extra node currency. I feel like those are like the main driving factors. Most people that are doing these aren't really doing it for the XP. They're not really doing it for the buffs. The buffs are nice, but majority of the reason is for glint and the node currency so that they could buy from the node vendor for whatever they need.
Citizen your citizens cannot see the buffs.
Really? Okay.
That if you go over to the mayor board right now, it should, at least it didn't tell you what the buff was if all of them got completed. It only tells you the rewards that you're supposed to get.
Reward summary. They used to show. Oh, so Glint and XP. Yeah, they don't show the buffs.
So on under Scout and Mayoral, it shows you the buff icon, but it doesn't show you what it does. So if you go down to node progress, that little chest. So it gives you the icon, but it doesn't tell you what it does.
Oh, okay. Oh, right there too. I feel like that'll change eventually. I feel like that's just going to be something that they're going to give citizens, you know, the privy to the right to information when it comes to that stuff. I think it's just a UI thing right now. I don't think it's intended. Do you?
I don't think so. And I don't think that one's intended either. 100%.
100% is only like double. Yeah.
Those stack.
Oh, they stack?
Getting double XP? Like, what?
Ooh, they stack?
Yeah.
Bro, why am I... Okay, I could abuse the fuck out of the system. Alright, Intrepid, don't stack. Make sure that these don't stack, I guess. Or
when I was doing my alchemy, when I was doing my alchemy, I made sure I had 4 of them done. I went from 1 to 15 with my first harvest.
Intrepid, fix that. That's fucking broken. That's insane. That's so dumb. Okay. Actually, here, I have a better idea. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
So you know.
It's already been reported.
I don't care.
So you know.
I don't care.
Lloyd's like, fix this now.
Probably should not be intended. Design with 100% XP rating gains from mayoral commissions. Either balance or
don't let it stack.
Don't let it stack would be appropriate. Okay, there it is. That's insane. That is fucking nuts.
Holy balls! I leveled my alchemy so quick.
Bro, mine's level 22 and I just fucking make ink all day.
Dude,
and ruby powder.
I put in 2 orders of 500 of the powders.
Mm-hmm.
I then logged out, came in the next day, put up 4 commissions, completed all 4 commissions, grabbed an XP scroll, and harvested them all, and I went from 1 to 15.
That's nuts. So yeah, anyways, that's mayorship. You can look at all your node resources here. I don't think there's much else that we really needed to touch on buy orders. These are probably the hardest part of your job, honestly. It takes you looking at pretty much all the systems of the mayor stuff, of looking at your smithy, your maintenance costs. If you want to do your Excel spreadsheet, if you're that type of person, go for it. I don't think it's necessary. I kind of like look at it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of low. And I go and look at it and I can just plug it and play. But once you put in the buy orders, you set up the commissions once a day, like I'm off and running. I'm just playing the game. I go fly on my mount and I just go to Carfin. And yeah, of course, you can just press N and you can just do it here as like you're like traveling or something, or while you're crafting or doing anything like that. And maybe you just fuck around and find out, you know, just maybe just look at.
About every time I was traveling from like point A to point B or going to see if something respawned, I was inside the mayor menu doing something in the mayor menu.
Yeah.
Like you can pretty much do everything you need to do.
You just see Kreirian inside of our party and like we're all fighting mobs over here and he's just over here. And we're like, Kreirian? And he's like, yeah, hold on.
I'm doing mayor shit. Hold on.
Or he's like, or he like,
you'll see me typing in chat.
Yeah, you just like, he'll just click in citizen chat and be like, so We're all set. Let's go. Say
Yeah.
hi, YouTube. Something like that. Like, comment,
90%
subscribe.
of this 90% of the stuff I said in Citizen Chat had to do with like work orders and stuff that needed to be completed, or like,
Yeah.
hey, I posted new commissions, or a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the citizen chat is actually very, very helpful for you as a mayor. Not only does it allow you to communicate very well, but it also allows you to get like, you know, just friendly messages, or like you get to actually feel out your reputation as a mayor with other citizens. It's been pretty cool, honestly. Like, people make fun of me all the time. I laugh at them. They laugh at me. And generally, we just kind of, you know, enjoy ourselves. And then you, as a mayor, you get to fly around and see the world not render properly. And, you know, you can maybe go to the top of Carfin and see what's in there. Is there anything else that you'd want to add, Kree, for any new or potential mayors in the future?
Yeah, just some like tips and tricks and stuff. The biggest thing that I've found, at least mayorship wise, especially in like these alpha testing phases, is that you have to work together with the other mayors.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you will, like the Resna server is the biggest example I can do right now. The mayors did not work together, and they actively tried to essentially fuck each other over. So the entire server had no access to apprentice crafting. One issue that we had at the beginning was that the mayors didn't have much communication, and Miraleth and Jova, we were building a smithy at the same time when we should have been building something else. Luckily, we got in contact, and Sheeta was able to switch over to the stonemasonry building because he used similar resources. Being like communicating with your citizens is probably another huge thing. If the citizens don't know what you're doing, then they're not going to help you, and especially if you have to raise the taxes. So if you're going to have to raise the taxes to upgrade a building or build a building, communicating that to your citizens, they all become extremely more understanding and actually willing to help. I've had people come up to me and say, hey, I don't have enough resources for this buy order, but I have a crap ton of this one resource. And so they'll trade it to me, and then I'll find somebody that has a bunch of the other one and trade that to them.
Another thing that I've noticed is that, like, currently you see a lot of guild personas in, like, the mayor position, simply because it's, like, a scientific node, so it's all vote-in type of thing. I think I won my mayor election with 127 votes. So that's like a shit ton of votes, right? But like the node and mayoral system is not a guild system. It's a server system. There have been things that Kreirian and I have just straight up told Jamie, no, we are not doing this because it is not good for the node. It is not good for the server. Even though that's something that our guild wants or desires. There's just some things that, you know, we don't want, you know, for the citizens. We don't want the realm to suffer, and you just need to tell your guild leader sometimes, like, hey, I can't do that. This is going to hurt the server in the long run. There are certain politics that happen, even though, like, it's just a game, it's just an alpha. There have been so many random politics of just us having to work with other people and actually socialize with them and go towards a direction. I think Lineth is another server that's done that, right? So like you have Narc, you have Pirate Software, they're all working together to get certain like journeyman buildings. And that factory and like the little like sub buildings that Kreirian was talking about earlier, those are some implications on like, shit, I can't actually build everything that I want. I can't actually spec into weapon, armor, and whatever smithing simply because I don't have enough plots. I don't have enough availability to. So like if the server wants something like that, then you'll have to work with another node. You'll have to, you know, maybe talk with the other mayor, and finding the other mayors currently is kind of a pain in the butt. thankfully we have our unofficial Discord where we have our realm that allows us to talk to other mayors, and that has been extremely helpful for us to work together. As Kreirian mentioned when he first started, it was much harder. That didn't really exist at the time. So you have to be in touch with a lot about like your citizens and what's going on in your realm, and that could be the hard part. It could be less of you having to work with your materials and just working with people, and working with people is really, really hard sometimes. So it is what it is. Any other tips and tricks that you have?
Communicate. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You have to talk with them. You have to be a social butterfly. And not because Lloyd's flying on a butterfly line.
Butterfly line. He's a cute little guy. He got nice little blue eyes. You know what's really cool about this guy, actually? I love his little flourish. Going on. I just go in town and I just beat my pecs, and people are just like laughing. Hello, work. There it is. Boom, 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 boom. Dude, he's such a thick boy. Look at him.
He is a thick boy.
If no other reason to be mayor than this, it's just, yeah, it's such a big perk. It's also a pain in the ass because people expect you to be everywhere and transfer like their materials and stuff. And you're like, bro, I want to play the game too. And they're like, yeah, but you can fly. I'm like, I don't care. I just fly.
Welcome to my weeks as mayor, or my month as mayor.
You were a cleric, so people are just asking to get res, and you're like, fuck you.
Res and transfer resources, yeah.
Yeah.
So I never got to access the Node War system because they were broken. So I know you have the Node War scroll. All the mayoral buffs, they should have appeared on your bar when you turned into a mayor. But they don't look like they're on your bar right
this
now.
one did.
They are.
But
yes,
if I go into skill book,
all I can
I wonder if they show up in here
right now is
they're in there somewhere. I remember finding them. But those buffs, they are only used while in a Node War. Your mount is also supposed to get abilities when the Node War starts as well. So I don't know what those abilities are. I mean, I've seen the Node War abilities, but haven't been able to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to do a whole video on Node War systems that I have yet to see.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, they're not in my skill book, so
we'll find out somewhere.
Oh, how about show? Well, yeah. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for the Mayoral video. I hope it was helpful for anybody that was watching. I hope it wasn't too confusing. If you have any questions, leave comments down below. And I mean, Kree and I are permanently online, I guess. Like I'm always like on my phone and stuff. So if you need message or if you need help or anything like that, or have any questions about being a mayor or what the process looks like on any other form, feel free to shoot me a message on Discord or literally just leave a message in the comments below and I'll figure it out. So anyways, thank you for coming. I hope you come again. And Kreirian, any last words for you?
Nope.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Love you.